Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to about an hour edition, a 6 p.m. edition of the No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast. We're usually 5 o'clock, but we pushed it back an hour, which is good. It gives us a little bit of extra time to get some things done, but we're happy to be here. Of course, I'm always with my tag team partner, Josh Kimmel. Josh, how you doing, brother?
Man, I am chilling out. I'm hanging out. I'm ready for some football tomorrow. I'm also ready to talk wrestling tonight because, the topic came up to me when I was watching Raw going, some of this just doesn't make sense. So let's think about the history of bad booking. People want to praise Paul Levesque, Triple H as this magnificent booker. Dude, this last year has been terrible. So I wanted to get into the all-time bad stuff today. So how about yourself, sir? I'm sorry for pushing the show back. It's totally selfish on my end. I'm just a diva. And then I told you last minute, oh yeah, by the way, we have a guest. Like literally last minute. So.
No, it's all good. No, I didn't actually mind the hour pushback. You know me, brother. I'm flexible, and but no, I'm excited. War Games is coming up, so we're building our War Games team, and we will welcome our War Games tag partner here to discuss some of the bad booking or questionable booking. What is some of the worst, questionable booking calls, and how maybe we would have made that different. Because a lot of people, you brought this up to me. You saw that some of the IWC, and of course they will, because my goodness, I would be miserable too if I lived in my grandmother's basement in my briefs and I didn't have a job and I was just mad at everything and everyone. And man, John Cena won the IC title, he beat Dominic. So you said some people were complaining. So we're going to go ahead and talk about questionable bookings. And if that was a questionable booking, which I don't think it was, but we'll get into it. But before we get into that, Josh, why don't you introduce our tag team partner in a War Games match today?
Yes, our third member of the War Games team we're building over here at the Finns Talk Sports Network. It is my co-host over on Thursday night Real Talk Wrestling, Miami Clutch PE. He loves his Cody Rhodes. He loves his, in case you didn't know, he loves his Cody Rhodes. He loves his CM Punk. And I thought Chris Koffler, our trios, our other third of our trio, thought he was the biggest baby face in the world. No, it's Miami Clutch PE. Loves them all, but I love him too, man. It's okay that he loves Cody Rhodes. It's okay. It's fine. I accept him for who he is. What's going on, Clutch?
What's going on? Wait a minute. This isn't Thursday. Where's Chris? Chris
That's
looks different.
This is the El. You should have been El Ginger. I don't know the Spanish name for how to say brown. Sorry, but you could have been El because you have brown hair.
I don't know the ginger for brown. Wow. Okay.
I don't know the Spanish word. What is it? I didn't know leche was milk. I learned that though.
Well, depending on who you ask, leche means milk. I mean, I learned that the hard way, but that's okay. Our normal plug for leche. But Clutch, my man, it's been a little while. Usually we're talking Miami Heat when we did talk and when we do talk, my man. So I am happy that you are here. We're going to talk some wrestling. But before we get into that, how you been, my man?
I've been good, and I've been chilling out in on Thursday nights where the best creators create. What was it, Josh? Josh?
On the Finns Talk Extra,
Yes.
where the best content creators create content. Just like in AEW, where the best wrestle, that's where the best wrestling show is on Thursday night.
I love it. That's pretty freaking cool, man. That's pretty freaking cool. So, as we just said, we're going to discuss some of the most questionable bookings in wrestling and WWE, especially. Of course, AEW. But I think, are we going to go too far back? Or are we sticking within the decade? Like, are we going too far back?
I got things.
Okay, we'll play it off by ear. We'll play it off by ear, and we'll do that. And then also the main event. We were very successful last week. We had a good viewership during the show, after the show with Kurt Angle's Sinister 6. This week, Josh said, man, let's do Diamond Dallas Page. And which was very cool to kind of go back and look at Diamond Dallas, one of the greats in the business. Obviously, major, big time success after pro wrestling and DDP yoga. So I was really excited to dive into that and then kind of revisit those awesome feuds. So we're going to get into that. But before we do, let's go ahead and get into some of these bookings, my man. What drove you, Josh, to bring this up and decide, let's get into some bad booking. What was the catalyst of this?
It wasn't even John Cena winning the title because we predicted that. We predicted that months ago. Months ago, we thought this was going to happen, and we said Gunther was going to take months ago. And all you OG listeners know this. We've been saying this for months, so I'm okay with this. I'm okay with the booking. War Games. What a mess! What a mess! Lash Legend, Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair. What are we? What a! It's an AEW put together mess. And on the men's side as well. What are we doing with LA Knight? He was in the story. Now he's out of the story. His time's being cut. He's obviously being punished. You throw in Cody Rhodes for no reason. Then you have to throw in Drew McIntyre. This is just thrown together. This is the new Hell in a Cell. We have to have it. We have to have it because it's November. So just put 5 people together. Why? I don't know. Good guys versus bad guys. Why not? It's so bad. It's just lazy. And I understand you had a plan. I understand you had Seth. I understand you had a plan in set. But this is your audible. Your audible is not just, okay, for example, the quarterback goes down in Cincinnati, right? Their plan wasn't just, all right, throw Jamar Chase away, throw T. Higgins away. Let's go get this guy and this guy. Just replace one person. That's all you had to do. And you had it with Logan Paul. Boom. No, now we're doing all this nonsense, and it makes no sense. We're just having matches to have matches. So that's what brought this up. War Games is supposed to be special, not a yearly tradition to watch Io Sky jump off a darn cage with a trash can, because you know that spot's going to happen. It's becoming the circus. Oh, when's the guy going to do the motorcycle tricks? Oh, when's the guy going to do this? That's all it is now. It's a circus. Oh, is it time to sing now? Oh, is it time to do this now? They become lazy because the fans are just becoming puppets. And that's why. Clutch and Bobby. That being said, what are some bad bookings?
Yeah. Oh man. So War Games again. In regards of nostalgia, I absolutely love War Games, and I heard Blood and Guts was a good match. I did not see it, so I will not pass judgment on it. Supposedly it was good. I was reading some good stuff, but we'll see. So not hating on it, Maria, because I don't know anything about it. I won't pass.
We didn't bring it up.
I don't think anybody did. But in regards of War Games, I'll tell you, there's one intriguing thing about War Games that I do like in regards to the women's War Games match, which is the Charlotte Rhea thing. That Charlotte's not automatically joining the team and she's kind of pushing back, and she has this issue with Rhea. I like that they've keeping that alive. It's not like they're just cutting a story short. We know those two don't like each other. In regards to the men Wars Games, it's for fun. I mean, the only question I have is Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre now part of the Vision, or are they just joining the group to go about it? And who's the next member? Well, I have to think it's gonna be Brock Lesnar. It should be Brock Lesnar. It makes the most sense. But yeah, I don't know. It should be a fun match. I think it'll be a fun match. But I get your point in regards of why are we doing it? Why what War Game should be personal? It should be maybe MFT versus not the Uglies, the Senate. What's the hell they call them? The Wyatt Six. If they would have built that story right, then that would be like personal vendetta. But this here, I don't, because Seth's not involved. The right guys are not involved in this match. Clutch, what do you think about that booking so far?
I mean, you brought it up with the plan for Seth, and that was going to probably be a good story going into War Games. And they audibled and they added Cody, they added Drew. I don't think they're going to be like Drew and Logan aren't probably going to be members of the Vision long term. I think it was a couple of years ago where Drew was part of Team Judgment Day or something, and they kind of just like broke apart after that. And they always, like, the way I see War Games, they always have to have a version of the Bloodline in that match. And it's the same. If you go back to the NXT days when they had War Game there, they always had the Undisputed Era in that match. So I don't have a problem with that. I would have at this point, since they had to like audible with the Seth story being cut short, is at that point I would have just maybe put like the biggest stars possible in that match. And maybe instead of Jimmy Uso, you throw in John Cena. And then you have a super team of John Cena, CM Punk, Roman Reigns. And that would at least be an attraction at the very worst. even if it can't be like a full a story that makes sense. So I'm not disappointed by it. I'm more hopeful for the men's match than the women's match because the only person I'm interested there in is Io Sky, and that's about it. And she's gonna do her cool thing. I mean, Josh says it, the trash can spot, and maybe with two trash cans this time. Who knows?
Oh, maybe
So-
maybe she has a trash can over her, and then it's gonna have she's gonna have the rope, put it on her waist, and climb up there, and they're all gonna stand there like, oh, don't do it, don't jump. It's just it happens every year. I wish it was something new, but it is what it is, Bobby. And you're right, it should be fun, right? Like we shouldn't be so critical on this, but then we can't say that and go, hey, well, why does AEW just throwing matches around? But there has to be some kind of storytelling. And you're telling me the great minds back there, honestly, like I'm not even joking, the great minds of Triple H and everybody else back there in that room, they couldn't think of something else. They couldn't think of anything that made sense. Wasn't Bailey and Lyra involved in the Kabuki Warriors? Where are they? Why aren't they involved? What reason is Nia Jax involved in this? What happened? Like that's the only thing. It would be different if it happened 2 months ago and then we're building, but this is 2 weeks from the pay-per-view, PLE, whatever you want to call it. That's 2 weeks away. Yeah.
So, in light of that, well, talk to me about this before we get into some of the worst bookings. And I'm trying to make sure. I'm trying to see if I can find any complaints, but I'll probably just put this down in a second. But you said you saw some people complaining about Dominic Mysterio dropping the belt to John Cena. As you say, we weren't surprised. We read it first off before we discussed that. I had said that I thought this could be the possibly last match of John Cena's career and finishing off as the Grand Slam champion. We thought about if we had to book John Cena's babyface run in his final run, and I picked Dominic to be the final opponent and to win John to win the IC title. Obviously, they did it a little early, so it didn't surprise me. And I think this is the correct call. I don't think this hurts Dominic Mysterio in any way. It was actually a fun match. It was really good. I compliment them both. But what were you hearing? What were you seeing about the complaints? What were people complaining about?
People making now the tournament's too obvious. Now we have Gunther in here. He's the only person that can contend for an Intercontinental title. Yada yada yada. Like it's just why does he need a title at the very end of his career? Why he's going to hold it for a month? Like, just people upset that it's supposed to be about he's preaching about the future, yet he just beat the future. That's what people are upset about because his whole promo was, "Hey, we're gonna have NXT on my show. I'm here for the future," and then people are like, "Then why did you just beat the future?" I'm not mad. People aren't seeing like this helps Dominic. He just held his own against John Cena. He just had a spot in John Cena's last run. I don't see the problem with it. Like 100%. This to me wasn't bad booking. This wasn't bad booking. This was good booking. I'm just saying 100%. People are saying it. The bad booking on my end was the War Games. That's all. Like that, I just can't understand. I can't fathom. But you have a whole year to prepare for this, and this is the best we got. But let me tell you some bad bookings from back in the day, because I have a list. I have a long list, but I'm not going to go through them all. I can think of 2019 Money in the Bank. This was bad. The whole match goes through. We have all these studs in the match. Who's going to win the match? Is it going to be Ricochet? Is it going to be this person? Is it going to be that person? Within the last 30 seconds, minute, Brock Lesnar comes out there and wins the Money in the Bank. There was so much outrage and people pissed off for this outcome. Do you guys remember this?
I do.
Yes.
That was bad. That was just telling you we don't care about the young talent. We're laughing in your face, and Brock Lesnar's although I did enjoy Beat Bop Brock. That was fun. But I thought it was a horrible decision. Do you guys think that was a good decision?
Who was in that match again? You said Ricochet.
Ricochet.
Who was climbing up the ladder at that point? It was there was
LA Knight in the match already, or was it
Ali? Mustafa Ali, right? It was Mustafa Ali.
Mustafa Ali was the one he was replaced. Mustafa Ali was supposed to win that, I believe.
I thought he was on top of the ladder. Who was it?
Was it Mustafa Ali on top of the ladder?
No, Mustafa Ali got replaced in the chamber, not in.
In the
Yeah, it was in
chamber,
the
yes.
chamber. It wasn't in
Yes.
the.
Okay.
I
So
think
I got the list right here. There, I found it on my notes. Ali, Andrade, Baron Corbin, which was being elevated at the time. Drew McIntyre, which I think we all wanted. Finn Balor at the time was up there. Randy Orton and Ricochet. Now you have to go back in 2019 and go, where were these people at, right? Because at this time, same card, Roman Reigns was defeated Elias. Same card. So, like, we have to know where these people were at. Like, at the time, Finn Balor, McIntyre, and Corbin were getting somewhat of a push.
And that's my thing, right? So that's you got to take hindsight, whatever it is. I get it, because he wasn't involved, and all of a sudden he comes out. I thought it was a good. Whoa, wait a second, me, I get a kick out of those moments. And Brock is Brock. Back then, especially, he was blockbuster. Brock was blockbuster. Well, Mustafa Ali wins. Woohoo! Oh, happy moment. He got what he deserved. Oh, he drops the pill. Oh, it's not. Come on, let's be real. Brock. It's I guess a head scratcher, Booker, because it's like, whoa, wait a second. Why don't you just let Drew or Finn? But you're right. You have to think about where they were then compared to now. Because you go, if you were to look back and go, oh, Ali won that Money in the Bank, or Andrade, or it's like, who? You know what I'm saying? Right. So I don't know, man. I don't hate on that.
Okay, all right. Clutch, you had a lot to say on Thursday night. I told you to hold off. What's the worst booking decision you've seen ever?
When you told me that this was happening, I had to make sure to be a part of it because I have a list. I have a long list, and we will not get through everything, but I will try my damnedest.
Have fun, brother.
The number one thing, and I will forever be pissed at this, The Fiend versus Goldberg.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
How do you kill a character that hard by having him lose to the corpse of a 70-year-old man? And it was awful. I was such a big fan of The Fiend. He was unstoppable. I know, Josh, maybe you weren't the biggest fan of The Fiend. I was. He was so good to me. Like I'm big into the Bray Wyatt universe. You know this.
Yep.
And the fact that Goldberg, I think it took one spear and it was over. And that makes no sense, especially when you book The Fiend to kick out of basically every finisher 15 times. But no, he takes one finish from Goldberg and it was over. And it did nothing for The Fiend. It killed The Fiend. And then you had Goldberg as champion. Who the hell wanted that? And I don't know what year that was, but who the hell wanted that? It was awful. That's my number one on the list. And I had to make sure to get it off my chest because every time they ask me about bad booking, it's that one.
I just want to say, not to argue that at all, but because it was bad booking. It just didn't make sense booking. But let's be real. The WWE was just booked The Fiend's run terribly. The Fiend it's like more if you wish what it was. Everybody's a fan of what could have been. It never what happened because The Fiend's run was terrible. I mean, it was first off the red lights, and I mean, first off, I'm a fan of The Fiend, of the idea of The Fiend. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Everybody loves the idea of The Fiend, and especially what Bray Wyatt did and what Bray Wyatt was, And I always prefer in the Everglades Bray Wyatt, in the swamp, and then you had The Fiend, which was such an interesting character. But in general, The Fiend was just a big flop by WWE booking. I mean, you think about the Goldberg, you think about the Goldberg match, you think about Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell. I mean, it was just so much bad that you could have said The Fiend, and I would have been like, done. You don't have to tell me anything else. The Fiend was just bad booking all the way through. Yeah. Big missed opportunity.
Yeah, it was funny because The Fiend and Seth in Hell in a Cell was on my list as well. Disqualification finish in Hell in the Cell.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
It was bad, dude. It just, you look back, and again, everybody goes, I love The Fiend, and I do. But I start to realize, though, it's like, wait a second. If I'm really sitting back and looking, it's not The Fiend. It's the idea of The Fiend, of what could have been with The Fiend. You could have done so much with that character, and the idea of it. I mean, this was a modern day Mick Foley, Mankind mixed with The Undertaker, the Aura of The Undertaker. I mean, this could have been huge, and WWE just totally shit on it, So that's why, if you ask me, even though I love The Fiend, the idea of The Fiend, you say, Bobby, Bray Wyatt or The Fiend? I'm going Bray Wyatt Everglades every day. I'm talking about, Wyatt family with the original guys. But I'm with you, man. I think the Fiend was just a huge missed opportunity.
I got one real quick. I won't go long. Let's rewind to 2014. the Royal Rumble. There was some guy, he was a very small man with a beard. He was very over with the Yes movement, but they chose Batista to win the Royal Rumble. What a horrible decision that was. Good thing they did correct it and listened to the fans and got, Daniel Bryan into the main event match with Batista, and I believe it was Randy Orton at the time. Horrible booking decision. I'm sure, Bobby, did you actually, because I don't think we discussed Daniel Bryan. We've never talked about Daniel Bryan as much as I've liked to, but were you a Daniel Bryan fan, or were you all for Batista? Knowing you, I think you would be. But let me
I would be what?
All about Batista winning this match, this Royal Rumble.
I do like Daniel Bryan. I've followed him when he was my goodness, I'm gonna butcher it now. Now that you got me, the Dragon. What was he? After that, Bryan Danielson. Because he was always
Dragon.
The American Dragon. I follow him. So when he came to WWE, I thought it was really cool. Came Daniel Bryan. However, I understand the idea that they were going with, of course, Randy Orton versus Batista in the main event of WrestleMania Evolution, kind of. But it was like, it's how many years too late? It's like, come on, why are we revisiting this? They were just trying to force their hand. They started finally trying to listen to the fans. And again, how long before that run happened when he got injured and they had this, and then they had to take the title off of him? Wasn't that what happened with him? So again, the fans got what they want, but was it really that big? I mean, the Yes was awesome, but
it was one of the biggest things ever that people still do today.
They still do.
It's almost as big as what?
Yeah, but Austin had more than what Daniel Bryan.
I'm just comparing it to like a big thing that people say. If you go to a wrestling event, you're going to hear woo, you're going to hear what, and you're going to hear yes. Those are like the big things.
But that's what he had. That's it. That was like, okay. And then he had the recycle championship. Oh,
Clutch comes on the show, then all of a sudden you just become this IWC.
So I understand that being a bad booking because the momentum was behind Daniel Bryan. You should build that momentum, and nothing's better than an underdog story. I understand the logic of, Batista versus Randy Orton, Evolution. Let's revisit that. But it's like, come on, dude. You see the momentum behind Daniel Bryan. Why go that route? It's the same thing as force feeding Roman Reigns as a baby face all those years. That was just bad booking. And then when you finally turn him heel, holy crap, it worked. Well, duh. The fans wanted to hate him for a while, and then it worked. And then the fans learned to love him. It's just, yes, it was bad booking, but I understand the logic of it.
Clutch, I know you have a bunch. You want to run through a few? And Bobby, you haven't contributed after. I need you to
I'm waiting to hear all of this to agree or disagree, but I have a couple, and we'll go there when we get there.
Okay. All right. Clutch, the floor is yours.
All right. So you mentioned the 2014 Royal Rumble. I give you the 2015 Royal Rumble. Really bad years for the Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns won that match. The final three was Roman Reigns, Big Show, and Corporate Kane. And it was awful. And then you had The Rock come out, one of the biggest baby faces in the history of wrestling, raised Roman Reigns' hand, and he got booed out of the building.
Yes.
That was awful. I don't know who should have won that Rumble, and because I don't remember that far back, but Jesus, that was bad. Roman, like the era of force feeding Roman Reigns down our throats was so bad, and it carried on for years because he was also the 2016 Royal Rumble when he was like one versus all. Like that little like 3-4 year run was probably some of the worst for his career until like it got saved later on.
That was one, and I just recently saw that again because I was looking and I wanted to look back on it, and I remember the fans booing everything Roman was doing, and then of course he eliminates Kane and Big Show, and it's like, well, okay, who do we want? Of course they were chanting Rusev. They were all hyped on Rusev. DDP had an epic moment in there. Of course DDP wasn't going to win that, but you had Stardust, and so again, force feeding Roman Reigns. But again, when the fans are booing this guy, and I think The Rock kind of picked that up. At the end, you look at The Rock's face; he's kind of like, "Wait a second, switch it up." The whole era, babyface Roman era, the big dog was just a big failure. Fans wanted to hate the guy, so they when he finally turned heel, that's when it all was made right in the world. I was trying to. I have this listed down here because I totally forgot about this, and this is my whole point because you brought up Brock Lesnar winning Money in the Bank and how that was a bad book. They should have gave it to one of the young guys. They don't care about the young guys. Listen, I hate that with a passion. When they don't hate, they don't do it for the young guys. The young guys have to earn it. Like, let's be real. Like when it becomes so hard to, like Daniel Bryan, the work he put in, the fans were behind him. And then when he actually went in the ring, it was fun and it was, whatever. That's somebody who the fans were behind, and then he earned his spot, got in the main of WrestleMania, and now he's a living legend. Those other guys, it's like, man, they could have gave it to Mustafa Ali, and okay, cool. Ali's cool. I like him. He's really grown, but why? They did that one time. They've done it plenty of times, but they gave it to someone one time. Someone who was the heir apparent. It was a young guy, a great wrestler out in the ring, could do everything, high flyer, had the look, had everything, had the machine behind him. He was a young guy. The whole IWC should be behind this kid. They went and they gave him Money in the Bank. He won the Money in the Bank. Then they made a mistake and they went, wait a second. We're going to let him go for the United States Championship. Wait, what? And then he lost that opportunity. Austin Theory. That's bad booking. Otis, Money in the Bank. Young, fun. Fans were behind him. He won it. Bad booking. That's why I go with Blockbuster every day. If Stone Cold Steve Austin wheeled down the ramp in a wheelchair, let him win Money in the Bank because he'll do better than the guys there. Austin Theory, man, winning Money in the Bank. That was pretty damn bad.
I mean, yeah, that's one of the worst booking of all time.
22.
Nobody wants to win Money in the Bank and go for the United States Championship.
Well, why? Like, what the hell?
So bad. So bad.
It's like, what the hell? Go ahead. Go ahead with another one.
I'll be quick with this one. So, man, I just because it's an AEW based one. So this is for you, Maria, and only for you, Maria. Remember back when John Moxley thought beating CM Punk in 3 seconds on Dynamite for the championship was awesome because he watched Rocky 3, and the big idea was CM Punk was down on his luck, and he had to get Ace Steel to come out there and get some life into him, only to beat John Moxley at the next pay-per-view. Bad booking. Bad booking. Making your champion your biggest draw lose on free television in 4 seconds to John Moxley of all people. Bad booking. That made CM Punk look like a fool. Your biggest top draw. No wonder he left. No wonder why he left. Everything, you know what? On top of this, AEW as a whole, all of it. Tony Khan getting pell driven by the Young Bucks. Where did that go? Where did it go? Can anyone tell me? Nowhere. Zero. Zilch. All of it sucks. So that's for you, Maria. And the sickos out there. All right, Clutch, back to you. I love this. This is like a therapy session.
Yeah, we can just rattle off some steam here. Like, so you know me, Josh. Like, and it's time to give some love to the women here. And I have one that really bothered me back then. It was Asuka losing her undefeated streak at WrestleMania to Charlotte Flair. That was piss poor booking. Every time they've had a chance to make a new star, they've buried it at the very last moment at WrestleMania. It happened as well with Shinsuke that same year, I think.
Won the Royal
Rumble. Everything after that, like Shinsuke was such a good talent. Like back then, especially when his confidence was high and like he was at the top, his peak was the Royal Rumble win. After that, doing the whole turn on AJ Styles, nut kick for like 3 months after that.
Every show.
And then, but back to my original point with Asuka, you had a monster women's wrestler that had her NXT run. She never lost the NXT title. She had to relinquish it because she was that good, to go over to the main roster, dominate, and won the Rumble, and then just ended up losing to Charlotte Flair when you had a chance to establish a brand new star, like a brand new women's like superstar, not just a star, that could have probably been a much, much bigger name nowadays and could have helped carry this women's division when it needs people. Because right now we're missing heels. Asuka could do that, but guess what? She's not. She could be even more credible if they would have booked her as a monster on the main roster, just like they did in NXT.
The look of Bobby's face.
And Bobby's a Charlotte fan, so I'm expecting this.
Yeah, oh yeah. This is as a superstar.
No, I just have to ask. When was she supposed to lose? Who would you book her to lose against? Because she was supposed to be undefeated till right now.
Not till right now, but she wasn't gonna. Don't make her lose.
Who would she lose to? Who? Like, if you had to give her a loss, who would she lose to? Who's more credible to lose to than Charlotte freaking Flair? Let's be real. Come on. At WrestleMania, the grandest stage of them all.
I think everybody except you was sick of Charlotte Flair. Then they're sick of Charlotte Flair now.
They're only sick of Charlotte Flair because she's so damn good. That's it. They want, oh man, I'm sick of watching this one person be so damn good, and I hate her, but they keep pushing her down our throats. But she has 5-star matches with this one, that one, this one should be in the ring, but they're gonna get 5-star match. Let's be real. Asuka was still great. It's just Asuka dropped off everywhere. It's just what it was. But my thing is, she could have still been. It was the booking after she lost that fell off. She could have came back and won. Now I agree with Shinsuke Nakamura. He should have won. He was red hot. But Asuka, Charlotte Flair, of course. Who else was she going to lose to? Alexa Bliss.
Then you had Sasha Banks, who is a much better wrestler than whoever that lady is in AEW right now.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I agree with that. Anybody, we miss Sasha.
Listen, can I chime in real quick?
He heard some Sasha hate and he had to talk.
No. Losing to Charlotte would have been fine after she established herself as a dominant champion for a little bit. That's all. That's all we needed. Losing happens, right? Everyone comes in dominant. Everyone should come on the main roster dominant, make a good appearance. Gunther did it. You have to. If you come in and you lose right away, look at Karrion Kross. He has not recovered from that mask incident and losing to Jeff Hardy or whatever that was on his first main roster appearance as the NXT champion. You have to come in there strong. She came in there strong. She won the Royal Rumble. And then she loses. She jobs out to Charlotte because Charlotte needs whatever she needs to do at the time. To me, it was a bad decision. Lose later.
Wasn't it the Royal Rumble? Wasn't it the Royal Rumble when she won when Ronda Rousey came out?
Yes.
We didn't get an inclination at that point. She wasn't really looked on as fondly by WWE at that point when they took away her moment with Ronda Rousey. That was the crime, not Charlotte winning. Charlotte Flair. It was Ronda Rousey, a nobody in WWE. I'll say somebody outside of it who took her shine, who showed up at like she won the Rumble. And of course, she had that spot with Triple H and Kurt Angle. That should be the crime, not Charlotte winning. Charlotte freaking Flair. Not Ronda Rousey taking away Asuka's spot, her time to shine, and when she won the Royal Rumble. That should have been the booking call. Let's be real. Maria, first off, Maria says, I just want Maria to clarify what she's saying, because she's agree 100% Asuka was trash. Never said Asuka was trash. Are you saying Asuka was trash? And you say WWE always set Asian wrestlers short. You're just making excuses against Asuka. What is it, Maria? Please clarify. Because I think Nakamura should have been given a spot. Not right now. He's totally fallen off a cliff. He's still a great character, but in the ring, it's all over the place. But back then, it should have been his spot. But sure. the Royal Rumble spot when she won, and it should have been some great thing. And holy crap, what a moment! And all of a sudden, Ronda Rousey shows up. What a dumbass call by WWE and Vince McMahon. That was a terrible call. Just like Cody Rhodes winning at WrestleMania 40. That was horrible. That's a bad booking. That's a bad freaking booking. It was the most obvious thing they could have done. They did it anyway. The Roman Reigns' story should have ended. Cody Rhodes' story could have been him winning the championship finally. That would have been, it would have, any time winning at WrestleMania would have been great. He could have won it before. I don't care. But it was so freaking obvious to me it was bad booking. Jey Uso or Sami Zayn winning the title from Roman would have been a better story. That would have been better booking. There was so much real motion in it. Sami Zayn fighting against Roman Reigns, and oh my God, all this story of betraying your friend and beating down Kevin Owens and beating down Jey Uso. And after all this buildup with Jey Uso to hate each other, and then they love each other and they're buddies. And then, and it's this war between Roman and Jey and Roman or Sammy. And then Sammy wins it. That's a better freaking story than Cody Rhodes finally beating Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40 to win his dream with 80,000 people helping him. Oh, here comes this guy, and here comes that guy, and here comes his mother, and here comes his cousin. It would have been better. And that fake celebration at the end, that was poor booking because it was so freaking obvious. Better booking was, oh, Cody's going to win it because there's no way he's going to lose WrestleMania 40. He lost WrestleMania 40? And he wins it at Backlash or something. That would have been.
I mean, you just described WrestleMania 39. It's like, oh, Cody's going to win it. It's like, oh, wait.
Exactly. And what was more shocking? Everybody was smiling, Clutch. You were happy at WrestleMania 40. You were so, oh, this is great. Finally. But imagine you weren't surprised, just like you were surprised at WrestleMania 39. You weren't surprised because you were like, there's no way they're not going to book Cody not to win this match.
Well,
there's no way.
But obvious doesn't always mean bad. That's the thing. I probably drilled this into Josh for so many times. Obvious sometimes is most of the time is actually not bad. And sometimes the obvious thing is the good thing. It's sometimes like if you complain about like, yes, it's obvious that this was going to happen. You have to think about the journey instead of just the destination. And that's what made the whole story good, in my opinion.
And she's just saying this so that way Claire Maria says beating Asuka at Mania and ending the streak was trash. That was her point. So good clarification from Maria. I wanted to get the clarification on that one. Okay. Anyway, so fair game. I knew you would come at me with that. Again, I like to be surprised. I hate the obvious. I hate they go Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre. Cody Rhodes versus Bronson Reed. I don't give a damn. Lose. Shock me. I love being shocked. I hate the obvious.
Bobby, with the all due respect, sir, is Vince Russo your favorite booker of all time? Like, are you a Vince Russo guy? You sound like it right now.
No, because he was one of those young guy pushers.
Okay.
He was a young guy. Come on. You know better than that. Like you could have came somewhere else with that. You could have came.
No one was asking. No one was asking if
Russo was a guy. Let's get this guy in here. Let's do that. You know, he's going to be so great. And it was a total joke. You know, it's like there's a time and a place. Come on. Sami Zayn winning the belt would have been a bigger story than Cody beating Roman. Cody could have beat anybody else. He could have beat Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. He finished the story. Wasn't beating Roman. Roman wasn't the story. The WWE title was the story. So to me, that was bad booking because it was so damn obvious.
There are so many bad bookings. We could be here for hours. I just want to get one more off my chest, and then you guys can say as many as you want. Then we'll move on to DDP because this is going to involve DDP. WCW. This is obvious. David Arquette winning the WCW championship. Horrible. The entire Bash at the Beach what was it again? Bash at the Beach or whatever, where Hogan was gonna quit, Jeff Jarrett laid down, Vince Russo. That's just, even if whatever they said was gonna truly happen in Eric Bischoff's situation and Hulk Hogan's situation, that's the finish they wanted. How dumb! How much the idiocy of that. We were talked about in depth in our WCW who killed WCW, but that was one of the worst booking decisions of all time. You couldn't even put on a full match. Who wants that crap? People are paying good money, and your main event is Jeff Jarrett laying down, Hulk Hogan putting his foot on him, cussing out Vince Russo and leaving. What a horrible booking decision. Terrible. If we can go on to more DDP losing to Goldberg.
Judy Bagwell in a pole match, Maria.
Terrible. Just
that's Vince Russo.
It's just all WCW post like 1997.
Mm-hmm.
Bad. Just
yeah.
Jericho and Goldberg. Jericho and Goldberg. They should have, the bosses at B should have been, oh, people are into this. Goldberg, go do it. Go do what Chris Jericho. Go do the idea. Goldberg never wanted to play. Goldberg is coming up in a lot of these bad bookings because he looks like he has too much creative control, brother. But anything Goldberg related at that time sucked. And the biggest WCW blunder that I could think of, that I could possibly think of, and you're going to like, that's it, Josh? That's what you think? Billy Kidman. Billy Kidman was the fan favorite. He was someone that could have been big, and they just destroyed everything about him. Just overall, he got over by himself organically. He was in good stories, and they just destroyed his character. So that's all. You guys can go off the rest. I got no more. That's it. That's my list. Great
But,
booking. The list was a good booking.
Billy Kidman in WCW? Are you talking
Yeah,
about?
bro. Like when he got over, he was like he had his girlfriend because he had a super hot
Tori
girlfriend at
Wilson,
the time,
yeah.
Tori Wilson. Yeah, that was all. That
That
was
his
good.
wife.
Just whatever. Didn't he go 1-on-1 against Hogan at one point?
Yes. Yeah, it was the Millionaires Club, and I think that's what it's called, Millionaires Club,
Millionaires Club.
and
DDP was in that.
New Blood.
Yeah, New Blood.
Yeah,
Yep.
and a lot of people don't like that. I did. I thought it was great. I like a legend pairing up with that, and I thought it was entertaining. I thought he was a very good heel. I like Billy Kidman
Okay.
when he started
You
off
liked
with
it?
Raven and so forth. I did, and then when he kind of broke off on his own, it was really cool. He was a fan favorite. I'm not saying he should have been world champion or nothing, but
No, but he
I
should have
did.
been like over. He should
He
have been
should.
like
They should have used him.
he should have been up in that same talks of not Chavo, but a little bit above Chavo Guerrero because he was a good worker and people were interested in Chavo, but not like the Dean Malenko. Like people were interested in Dean Malenko. That's where he should have been.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Anyway, all right.
Finger poke of doom. Absolutely, that was terrible booking. Absolutely. Cody is better than Sami Zayn by a billion. Sure, maybe a million, maybe a couple thousand. I don't know about a billion. Again, the story of Sami Zayn with the Bloodline was way better than Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns.
It was.
I think let's just be real here. It would have been a bigger because we all expected that Cody and Roman were going to go and see each other at WrestleMania, and Cody was going to win. We all knew that was going to happen. But just imagine the shock, the awe, the excitement if Sami Zayn would have won that title that night. Just imagine, even if there was just a Chris Jericho type of win, wins the title or Kane wins the title the night on the pay-per-view PLE, loses it the next day. Still, you savor the moment. What a moment. And then he can do it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. But anyway, Clutch, any other bad booking decisions in your opinion?
I mean, my list is still like halfway through, so we're definitely not getting through it. I will combine these two as like a rapid fire thing. I've noticed that I hate Royal Rumble bookings. I've noticed this because I have a lot. The 2011 and the 2012 Royal Rumbles were awful. First of all, Alberto Del Rio. Enough said. I don't have to say anymore.
That's it.
2012, Sheamus over Chris Jericho. The one time Chris Jericho should have realistically won the Royal Rumble, and he didn't because they gave it to Sheamus, and they had that period of time where they pushed Sheamus down our throats. Also, because I did say rapid fire. I do actually have a WCW one, which is crazy.
Roll, brother. Don't rush. You're good, my man. Take your time. Go. Who you got?
My WCW one, and it was Rey Mysterio being unmasked by Kevin Nash.
Oh yeah.
And I only know this because little fun fact about me, I'm a big Rey Mysterio is my favorite wrestler of all time. I grew up on Rey Mysterio. And so I back in the day, I got the DVD and I saw his old WCW stuff and it was great. And then I saw the unmasking and it was and then I went down the rabbit hole to see what happened and it was terrible. He puts his mask on the line, takes it off. They make fun of him for it afterwards, Kevin Nash trying to put it on looking like a big dummy. And then it leads to nothing. Rey Mysterio just wrestling without a mask. He kind of flows there until the death of WCW. And then he finally gets his mask back in WWE, but it was a decision just to make a decision, just for the shock factor, and I thought it was awful.
Do you know the backstory behind that?
Not that much.
Eric Bischoff was taking all the lucha masks away, and so they wanted the luchadors to be identified and seen because they thought a bigger star factor. People wearing masks don't get over, so Eric Bischoff was taking all the luchador masks away. And the whole story was the LWO, the original LWO. Eddie didn't want any of the luchadors to wear masks, and Eddie in Rey Mysterio didn't want to do it. He's like, I'm wearing my mask. And eventually he was the one who took his mask off, of course, where you've seen. But yeah, it shouldn't have been Kevin Nash doing it. It should have been Eddie. Should have been incorporated in that storyline. But that was an Eric Bischoff call. He wanted all the luchadors to be maskless. Remember that, Bobby?
I do. Yeah.
Yep.
I do. And I remember, and I'll tell you what, just Ray Unmasked is so blasphemous. However, I will say he was entertaining. He actually did a heel run, if I remember correctly, post mask, and I actually enjoyed it. You could see Dominic. You see how easy it was for Ray to be heel, him and Conan. And so, yeah, I get it. It was bad booking because it was like, but I think you're right. I think if it was Eddie Guerrero who did it, it would not have been as bad booking because it would have meant more. But because it was Kevin Nash, and then Nash, after he takes the mask off, acts like Ray, and he's kind of like, oh, put it back on, put it back. It's like, come on, dude, it should be a big deal. This should have been a moment. Of course, it would be a bigger deal now because Ray is one of, if not, arguably one of the greatest of all time. In that he is. I mean, even Bret Hart will say he's one of the greatest. To me, he's one of the greatest of all times. Heel turn was a terrible idea, but he was really good at it. It was believable. Him as a heel was believable, which is crazy because Eddie's like Ray's the ultimate good guy. He's like one of these good guys, but watch him as heel, it's like, damn. And you see how natural it is for Dominic. So that's really cool. But keep going, Clutch. I'd love to hear a couple more of yours, man.
Okay, well, I rattled off a few, so now I only have 3 left on my list, which is much deeper than I expected to get today, so I love it. The obvious one that we have not brought up, but the streak. Brock Lesnar beating the streak.
Yeah.
Terrible booking. That is one of them, like, where you give it to like a young star. Like, that's something Roman Reigns could have benefited from down the line. That's
Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt. Anybody you see, like all the Taker opponents after losing to the streak, any of them could have beat the streak. And it would have been much better. And it could have maybe like pushed forward if they went that way, the Roman Reigns heel turn, and could have seen something more out of Roman. I mean, you remember when he beat Taker at WrestleMania, I think 34, and then he comes out the next day, or 33, and he came out the next day, this is my yard now, and leaves. Like, that's the ultimate heel stuff. They didn't want to like
that's a good one.
Do more. Oh, that one was awful. I think we talked about it, right, Josh?
That was pretty bad, dude. But I like that. You're right. And again, Roman Reigns, he did beat Undertaker, but imagine the impact it would have had. And that kind of set off the tribal chief, because you remember he stood in that ring, the crowd booed him out of the arena. He just stood there, he stayed quiet on Monday Night Raw, and he just said, "This is my yard now," and walked out. And that was like the time where I was like, "Oh, this is for real. He took that." But imagine how much it would have meant if he was not the second win, he was the first. And again, you heard Vince McMahon's logic, but Brock Lesnar did not need it. He did not need it. I can understand you just emphasize, oh, he's dangerous, but he already destroyed John Cena, and he could beat the Undertaker any day of the week. But Roman Reigns, maybe not that WrestleMania, maybe a couple more WrestleManias after. Again, Bray Wyatt, it would have been a lot better, and you would have built those guys up. But again, some guys are Brock guys, some guys are McMahon guys, and some aren't. That was a scenario where it was a McMahon guy. Another one, Clutch. Really good. I like that one.
Okay. This one bothered me. Again, another Brock Lesnar one. The death of Kofi Mania. I didn't mind that he lost the title. I mind that he lost the title in 8 seconds in the debut episode of Fox on SmackDown. That shit. Sorry, Bobby. You're here so I can say it. That shit on a big moment.
I'm here, so it's allowed.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That shit on a big moment that Kofi had at WrestleMania, and kind of buried that huge moment for him. Mm-hmm. And it was, I don't know what the logic was in that creative room. Hey, let's have him lose in 8 seconds. No. I looked at my TV after that, and I honestly remember turning it off, because I was like, what? Fuck this shit. Sorry, Bobby.
Get it all in there now, brother. You've gone 4 in.
Yeah.
This is the main event for him, by the way. Okay, Josh, react to that very quick. What did you think of the end of Kofi Mania?
Yeah, and then the aftermath of it. Kofi wasn't even mad. I think the next week he was throwing pancakes out in the crowd. Ridiculous booking decision. Why couldn't we have a real match? Kofi Kingston was pushed as a legitimate WWE champion. And they said, nah, one of our biggest stars, 8 seconds, one and done. Like, how embarrassing. That's it. That's just an embarrassing. The way they booked Brock Lesnar in this company to today, the way they just treated his last match with John Cena. What? Not what does he have on them? You know what? He might have something on them. He might, because of all the stuff that they have on him. You know he's got stuff on them. Come on, man. Like, why are you booking this man like he's some incredible Hulk, Thanos, unbeatable monster? He's old, it's washed, it's old, it's done, it's done. Still to this day, squash John Cena for no reason. Ridiculous.
That's pretty bad booking, because again, I called that, but remember I told you my follow-up to that was a follow-up win and then a War Games, and then the story was done. They didn't do that. They just had Brock win. And again, what's the next step for Brock? What's the point of that? What's the follow-up? There's none right now. You guys are going to hate me.
Uh-oh.
But I don't disagree. I disagree. I don't think that was bad booking. Come on. Let's be, Kofi's Kingston, Brock Lesnar. Kofi tries to get the jump. Lesnar catches him. Kaboom. 1, 2, 3. I got it. I understood the assignment. It was, I understood that because, and you go, oh, but look at the way they put, how, give Kofi a real match. Brock Lesnar would never lose in 10 seconds. Or, Brock Lesnar always did. Actually, he did. Goldberg squashed him. He's done the job before. Sometimes a job's a job.
But also, my issue with this is Brock actually has some really good matches against smaller talent.
He does, 100%.
He had bangers against Daniel Bryan, against AJ Styles, against, I'm missing probably a few off the top of my head. I think he had a Rey Mysterio one in there that was pretty good. And I think you could have put on a similar performance with Kofi. At least make up. It's okay if Brock won. You know what? It's okay.
For sure. Got you.
Make it a good match. That's all. Yeah.
I think because for the two things, I think because if it was a PLE, I think it would have been an extended match, because you're right. People think Brock Lesnar is just a brawler, whatever, which really he could go with anybody, big guy, small, whatever. The most recent one was, or I don't know if it's most recent, but if you think small guy was AJ Styles a few years back, Daniel Bryan a little time back. Those were decent matches, and Kofi could have had a great match, but I think because it was on SmackDown, because SmackDown wanted Brock Lesnar or a blockbuster guy to be the champion, there's like, let's run this through, let's make it quick and get Brock out of here, because he's a PLE guy, he's not a SmackDown guy. He's not going to wrestle anymore in SmackDown. He's not going to wrestle on Raw. That's why, again, Cody Rhodes and Brock, when they were going to go against Roman and Solo, did Brock actually wrestle? No. It was destroy Cody and walk off. He doesn't wrestle on those shows, but they want him to be champion. So what do? Book them to win quickly, get him out of there. If they were going to drop the title, they got what they wanted. SmackDown got, or whatever, was it USA, whoever had that, they got what they wanted. They wanted Brock on wrestling a match on a show. They wanted him to be the champion on their new brand, and they rolled with it, and they did it. And we got him to wrestle. And they didn't tell you it's going to be a 5-second match. So I got it.
You know what Fox got in return?
Fox, there you go.
You know what Fox got in return? Poor ratings. They did, because the booking was so bad.
Kofi it would have been just as poor. It would have been just as poor. I'm just saying too.
You upset your fan base
because again, Brock wasn't going to be on TV. It doesn't matter. He's just a champion. You just advertise he's the champion. It was everything else around him.
That's why people will stop watching, because SmackDown was terrible.
But anyway, all right. Let's move along to our main event. Let's talk about somebody who was very rare. Even we could say one booking was pretty questionable, but it was really rare about bad booking, because he really pushed himself into the main event scene. He started off being a wrestler really late in his career. He was a bouncer. I think he owned a club, and then he started making friends with wrestlers, got involved. He was a manager. He actually drove a car into WrestleMania. He had the Diamond Stud, which was Scott Hall, built that character up, but he really wanted to be a wrestler, ended up doing it at a very late age, becoming, of course, DDP, and becoming one of the greatest of all time in WCW, wrestling legend, Diamond Dallas Page. One of my favorites, a legitimate people's champion. I mean, like, Rock says I'm the people's champion, and that will go down because that's who Rock is pretty damn big. But the real people's champion, at least in my opinion, respectfully to the Rock, is Diamond Dallas Page. I mean, he was a bad guy at one point, absolutely, but he was always a good guy, and he always was going against the bad. He was always against the NWO. He was just too freaking cool. Everybody loves the RKO. Well, he had the Diamond Cutter, and he could get you at any point in time. But very quick, Clutch. You're young. I mean, what do you remember about Diamond Dallas Page? You remember him? It's just his WWF run.
Yes, with the theme of bad booking, I remember the WWF run, the Undertaker stuff, which was god awful, and it was probably a really terrible introduction I got to Diamond Dallas Page. And then I went back, and I've seen a couple of his things, but yeah, I'm a little bit, I guess, too young for the WCW days, I've seen all of his work that he's done after wrestling, and that's very impressive stuff. He's gotten some older guys that have had trouble outside of wrestling back onto their life, and I think that's just as commendable as anything he's probably done in the ring.
It's so true. I mean, you think about from somebody who watched him growing up and enjoyed him. I mean, you think about Jay Leno or Karl Malone, the tag matches with Hogan and Rodman, or Hogan and Bischoff, and then or him and Goldberg at Halloween Havoc. I always enjoyed watching him. And then when he went to WCW, I agree, that whole stalker thing was the dumbest thing they could have done. When I listened to Bruce Pritchard and his excuse as to why they did that, and Conrad Thompson was asking, like, why would you guys not just bring back Diamond Dallas Page? Bring back DDP. Why don't you guys, our audience didn't know who he was. You idiot. What the hell are you talking about, bro? We all know who Diamond Dallas Page was. Everybody knew who DDP was. You were trying to kill him, legitimately built, and that's what stopped it. And then when even though Booker T had a great career in WWE, a Hall of Fame career, when The Rock went, "Who are you?" to Booker T, DDP was more of that. DDP was bigger than Booker T in WCW. Just realistically, as much as I love Booker T, and then I'm a WCW mark, and he was great, 5-time WCW champion. To do that to Diamond Dallas. Instead of what DDP said, he even said it respectfully when they brought him up, that they brought that idea up. We want you to stalk the Undertaker's wife, and he's sitting there with Kimberly Page, who was a Nitro girl, and he said, "Why would I stalk the Undertaker's wife when mine is the most beautiful woman in the world?" Which she was. Kimberly is gorgeous, and they're not married anymore now. They're friends, but it was true. It's like, it was the stupidest thing. And then you go, he says, "I'm the people's champion in WCW. That's what they call me. You have The Rock right there. Make me be a heel against The Rock, or vice versa." It would have been the WCW killed his character. They killed it worse than The Fiend. It didn't make any sense until they started and then they made him into the good guy. Just smile, enjoy life. Christian banging the ring, getting all pissed off. They had a good little thing. They had a thing in WrestleMania. But DDP in WWE was such a fluke. It was terrible. But DDP in WCW, if you love wrestling, if you love a real good guy, an awesome story, go watch DDP. But Clutch, do you want to stick around for this, or do you want to go ahead and bounce out?
The thing I mentioned, I'm a little too young for this, so I don't know how much I can actually add to the conversation.
All right. Well, then I think we'll just let you off the hook. But Josh, any final thoughts for Clutch?
Yeah, Clutch, thanks for coming on. I can't wait till our show Thursday. I can't wait to text you Thursday morning to let you know our topics and BS on that show. We're going to probably be breaking down more BS booking from Triple H on Raw. So any last words from you, Clutch?
No, man. I just I enjoyed my time here. It was I was very passionate about the topic today, so I had to make sure to be on this, and I got to rattle off everything on my list, and I'm very proud of that.
Right on.
Clutch, I'm happy to have you on, man. That was awesome. Welcome you back anytime, my brother, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, my man. Take it easy.
All right. See you guys.
There's Miami Clutch PE. Catch him on Thursday nights on Real Talk Wrestling with Josh and Chris Koffler.
El Ginger Americano, you mean?
It's El Ginger Americano. I apologize. We don't say his name no more, apparently, but that's okay. But no, so going back very quick, we'll just read off Maria's Sinister Sticks for DDP because she has it on there, and I love that she threw it there. But she has the Macho Man, Kurt Hennig, Hulk Hogan, Scott Steiner, The Undertaker, Goldberg. Those are her Sinister Six. Why is Goldberg number 6? You got DDP gave Goldberg his toughest match, and he is the only guy to kick out of the Diamond Cutter. Very cool. Appreciate that, Maria. So this was fun. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I did enjoy going back and watching some of DDP's moments and, just his career highlights. Man, it gets you in the feels. I get the goosebumps, nostalgic. Diamond Dallas is one of my favorite people. I've never met him, but I love listening to him and, and just what he does outside the ring, but also just watching back on some of the, and I told you a while back, I stopped, but I want to get back to it now that Peacock doesn't have Nitro anymore. I was watching every Nitro and just watching him early on, the matches he had with Eddie Guerrero. He was the heel, some of the matches he was having with, I believe, I don't think his name was that then, but it was Mark Marrow, which was Sable's ex-husband at the time. Some of these matches, they were very entertaining for a guy who started really late. I mean, he was a very good wrestler. I really enjoyed his matches. So to go back and see these moments, with the Macho Man, with Raven, with Goldberg, with Hogan and the NWO, Scott Hall and Nash, Scott Steiner later in his career, Jeff Jarrett later in his career, DDP. I mean, we'd say Sting was Mr. WCW, maybe Booker T. DDP was absolutely in that conversation as Mr. WCW. Just very quick before we get into names specifically, not ranking, but just throwing names out there. What did you think watching or going back and kind of looking at DDP, and what do you think of his career in general?
Yeah, I started watching wrestling in 1997 when DDP was already awesome. What brought me to WCW was the cool, edgy characters. Like NWO was already a thing, but it's like, oh, this guy's coming out to Nirvana music. Oh wait, that's not Nirvana. That's like a knockoff of Nirvana, but it sounds really cool and grungy. Who is this guy? Oh, this guy's awesome. He's got the whole bang, boo, raw. That's what I remember about WCW. He was the heart and soul of WCW. It took me a little bit of time though to get people on my list. I'm not confident about my list whatsoever because really, like if he wasn't around long enough, he was around for 20 years. Now that's a long time, right? But it's not long enough in the mainstream or in the main event because he was only a top guy for about 4 years, maybe 3. He wasn't a top guy forever. So it's hard to go, well, this guy's it. This guy's it. But I did love going back and watching it. My kid's like, hey, wrestling back in the day used to look like your old video games. Like, why don't they look clear? Because I was playing like an old Mario game on my old Game Boy. It's like, it's all pixelated. Yeah, son, that's how video games looked. Yes, that's how not high definition TVs looked back in the day. But it was cool to see all that stuff and the fans, the atmosphere. We just don't have a DDP these days. We don't have it like we had it back then.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's a great point too. That's what's it's crazy. Kurt Angle was that guy too, who didn't have a long career, and Diamond Dallas did not have a long career because he started late, but he did have some memorable matches. He did have some memorable feuds, and that kind of tells you for a guy who's only been who was in wrestling or active for 20 plus years, to have so many memorable moments and to get to the main event scene as fast as he did tells you how great Diamond Dallas Page really was. I mean, I'll start it off, and I wanted to start with the most obvious one, but I'm gonna go with a legend who had some great matches. Let's see how many matches it actually was. Let's see here, 6 matches, multiple fights, but one of the best rivalries, and that was Macho Man Randy Savage. Probably, that match elevated Diamond Dallas as a main event star. Put him on the map. And it just tells you how great Randy Savage was to give as much as he took and to put DDP on the map. Again, Spring Stampede was at 97. DDP won that match, was probably the career defining match. Again, they've wrestled so many times. The last one was in 98. Halloween Havoc, they fought in 97. So Macho Man is absolutely, and to me, I would say number one. I want to rank them, but I would say number one on that Sinister Six for DDP.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's the number one, no brainer. Randy Macho Man Savage is to me, number one, numero uno on the list. He was the first person that came to my mind because, again, coming from an era where, Macho Man, he's a big deal, but DDP's in the same realm. That's the first time in my eyes I remember going, wow, he's a main eventer too. He's up there with those guys. He can compete. He can win the world title. He could be something. So, it's funny actually thinking about it. I always liked heels. Always. He is the true people's champ because he got me rooting for him.
Yeah, 100%.
I didn't root for The Rock, even when he was I never liked The Rock. Rock wasn't my style. He was the true people. To get, but it's also not fair because it was in the same era of grunge, and I was a big grunge kid, loved Korn, Limp Bizkit. Well, they weren't around back before then, but Nirvana was, and Pearl Jam and all, and I was into that stuff. So he was that in my eyes. So anyway, yeah, Randy Macho Man Savage. Here's another one. Here's mine. Here's another one. Kevin Nash. I think Kevin Nash. It's tough because you really could throw the entire NWO in there. And will I? Will I single out NWO members? Yes, I will. Yes, because he fought them all. He said no to the NWO. They did not like that. He faked like he was going to join the NWO. And him and Kevin Nash had some good moments, some good matches. Didn't they tease him joining the Wolfpack at some point? I always consider that in consideration, like friends or foes become friends or somewhat allies in the end, because every single movie, the villain eventually helps the good guy in the sequel eventually. So that's kind of what was going on then. I just thought him and Kevin Nash were like the guys of the WCW in 1997 when I was watching, and that whole NWO story. I think Nash was a big part of it. So that's why I have Kevin Nash.
I love that answer. I will say, I'm gonna put the Outsiders as a pair. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash with DDP. Scott Hall started. DDP started with Scott Hall, big diamond stud, and then so the obvious friendship was there. The whole situation where they had so many matches. I don't know. I mean, a handful of them, two hands. Probably 10, 12, whatever matches between DDP, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash. We just talked about earlier how obvious. What I was saying, WrestleMania 40, I would say was a bad book because it was so damn obvious. It was very obvious for the big WCW stars to join the NWO. Ted DiBiase, Kurt Hennig, Hogan, Savage, everybody and their mother was joining the NWO. So when DDP was handed that WCW shirt, it was obvious. Yeah. The NWO shirt. It was obvious he was going to put that shirt on and join the NWO. What was not obvious is when he diamond cuttered Scott Hall in the middle of the ring. It basically was Steve Austin before Steve Austin, apparently, in the crowd, diamond cutter. Holy crap. He just turned against the corporate, regime of the NWO because Eric Bischoff, he did that. So, and he did that against Scott Hall and DDP. I mean, Scott Hall and Nash. And of course that feud lasted years. So Kevin Nash is great. I agree with you, but I would pair Hall and Nash together against DDP. I know I would fit those two guys into one.
Okay. That's fair. That means I got to come up with another one because Scott Hall's on my list.
That's all right. It's okay. And then of course, an obvious one. We say, you said the NWO, you said Nash. I said, I'll put the Outsiders. Well, then the next obvious one is Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hulk Hogan. I mean, you can't say Hollywood Hulk Hogan, WCW without Diamond Dallas Page. Again, Hogan and he tagged with Eric Bischoff against Jay Leno and DDP.
Yep.
Karl Malone and DDP versus Dennis Rodman and Hogan and DDP in multiple matches throughout their careers in WCW for the WCW title, fatal four-ways, one-on-one, whatever. Hollywood, I don't want to say Hulk Hogan. Hollywood Hulk Hogan is an obvious Sinister Six for DDP.
Obvious on my list as well. Yeah, that'd be my third member on my list. It is it defined an era. Hollywood, Hulk Hogan, NWO, it defined an era, and every babyface had to fight against them, and they all look good doing it. They all look great as a babyface doing it, especially against Hollywood Hogan. So yeah, DDP for me. But here's a babyface, which Maria brought up. I am putting Goldberg on my list. I already had Goldberg. He was the second person I put. Um, because I was heartbroken as a child. Now, maybe this is more personal, but he should have speak about bad booking. He should have won that match, 1998 Halloween Havoc. He should have been the world heavyweight champion. He should have beat the streak. He was the most over, in my opinion, the most over babyface in WCW. He was more over than Goldberg. At that time, he was. And it was a bad decision not to do it, but that was to me a pivotal match in DDP's career. What if he won that match? Where would he have gone? Would he have been booked as DDP People's Champion in WWE? Because he beat Goldberg because he was the one to beat the streak? That's someone. You talk about young guys who need beating John Cena to get over, all you IWC people. No, DDP was in the right spot. He wasn't mega over as a main eventer. He wasn't a young guy trying to find a spot. He was right on the cusp. And that right there would have pushed him over the top. But that's why I'm putting him in the Sinister Six, because I think that was the fork in the road of DDP's career, where it could have been to where it went.
I know, I did see Maria's comment, and I really did consider Goldberg, and it's at least in early on, like in the top three, whatever. Even though I don't want to try to rank them, but I think they wrestled a couple times, if not a handful of times. It wasn't a lot, but the reason why Goldberg would be included, at least in my opinion, in a Sinister Six, first off, because it's Goldberg. It's a pretty damn big deal. Halloween Havoc, right? Pretty damn big deal. But it was an epic. It was a big moment, and probably one of Goldberg's best matches was against DDP. But I think it would be more if DDP would have won. I think it would lock it in if DDP would have won that match, because he would have conquered the beast. But he didn't, and it was only I want to say less than 5. I don't know. I want to say 2 or 3 matches. I don't know how many matches, but they didn't do a lot. It was never a feud that I remember distinctly between them. It was more of a friendly thing where we go. I have his picture in there. I'm going to say Raven, 98. That go back and watch those matches. Go watch that feud. Again, just tells you what DDP could do, what he did. He could wrestle with anybody. You put him against a luchador like Eddie Guerrero, a hardcore guy like Raven, Macho Man, a classic, Hogan, limited, put him against anybody, he's going to have a good match. But you give him a guy who could take the story out of him, bring out a good story, which kind of Raven did. And Raven was very intriguing and very mysterious. I would put Raven in place of Goldberg in that conversation, just because of the impact it had on DDP's career as a star, but also again what it brought out of him as a storyteller, and also as what he did in the ring, because it kind of you had hardcore matches, weapons, and they wrestled a little more, and they had an actual story to it. So I'd put Raven there, man, as my third guy right now.
Okay, that's not a bad.
Or my fourth, right?
Fourth, yeah, we're fourth. So we have 2 more.
Four. Sorry. Okay.
2 more. So I'm just going to say Scott Hall for basically every reason. I know it's a cop out, but you can't have DDP without Scott Hall. DDP doesn't exist without Scott Hall. Scott Hall always liked putting DDP over, or at least making him look good. They had chemistry in the ring. Maybe not as much chemistry. Like they weren't like, oh, look, it's Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay, but they were able to tell a story. NWO, it's a cop out, brother, but I'm not going to put 2 in 1. It was hard for me, Bobby. This one was I thought it'd be a lot easier. It wasn't as easy because there's not like the feuds weren't. There wasn't a lot of John Cena versus Randy Orton. Let me put it to you that way. There was a lot of one-offs and a lot of feuds that were undercard, or when WCW was already over the hill. Like my last guy, is it going to be this guy? We'll talk about it later, probably. So, who's your fifth guy?
This is hard, because again, I'm with you. It was so damn hard because again, Goldberg is pretty. I can't argue against Goldberg because it's a big moment. But I it's hard for me to put on, and I'm still conflicted about putting him on as the last one. It's still true, dude. It's hard as hell. I'm gonna go. There's no way I'm going WWE. There's nothing in WWE that I care.
There's nothing there.
I don't give a damn what anybody says.
There's nothing.
This is late WCW. But if you go back and you go to WCW Vault on YouTube, you'll see a lot of pictures of Scott Steiner and DDP. Scott Steiner is absolutely in the Sinister Six for DDP. I mean, it was in the 2000s, I think.
Yep.
This was New Blood, the feud with the New Blood and everything else. I absolutely have to put Scott Steiner. He's another one of those guys. When you look at him, you go, "Oh, he's one of those bruiser guys. He's not that good. He's not that." No, he was pretty damn good, and he was a lot of fun. He was a great heel, unbelievable on the mic, and he had some really good matches. And I really enjoyed his feud with DDP, even when WCW was dying. That was a fun feud, and it was kind of like, damn, dude, this is what you could have had if you would have just kind of ventured out. So I would go with Scott Steiner.
Yeah, I was going with either Scott Steiner or I don't know. He had some good matches with Eddie, but that was early on, like super early on.
Eddie Guerrero was very early. I thought about Eddie, but that was early. It wasn't really much of a feud.
Yeah.
But there was a time where I think, and I have to go back now because it just came to me, but I think there was a time where he wrestled just luchadors. If I'm remembering, I think there was a time where I think him and Psychosis and La Parca, he even dressed like La Parca against Macho Man at one point. That just tells you how great DDP was. He actually asked La Parca, "Show me some of your moves," and he did it during the match. And then he diamond cuttered and won the match. And he took the mask off. It was one of those epic moments. I really have fun looking back on when I found that, and I was like, "Holy, I remember this!" It was just so cool. But cool. So who's your fifth guy?
So okay, again, you can go Jeff Jarrett. You can go Scott Steiner. You can go, but it's in the same era.
Yes,
it's in the same era. And it's like it's a sad era, but it's an era we still watched and went through. So at the end of the day, I think I remember more Scott Steiner stuff than I do Jeff Jarrett because I was never a Jeff Jarrett fan. So when Jeff Jarrett was on my television, I kind of just looked away, even if DDP was involved or even if AJ Styles or Christian Cage on TNA, I was never the biggest Jeff Jarrett guy. So that's why I'm going to give the edge to Scott Steiner. That could have been the future of WCW.
Yeah.
Because those guys were it. Scott Steiner was it. Scott Steiner is another guy who got screwed in WCW or WWF, by the way. Another guy who got totally screwed in WWF.
Yes, he did. He did. He was just there to be a guy for Triple H to go against. But it is what it is. I just wish they could have still done like a WCW thing. It always pisses me off thinking about all the WCW guys that were still in great shape and everything else, that they could have done a WCW thing in WWE after. That they had to rush the invasion with a bunch of mid-card, low-card guys and just totally butchered it. My sixth guy, again, I'll just say the names that aren't there, but that I can understand why. Again, Goldberg. I can't argue anybody saying Goldberg. Sting. Can't argue anybody saying Sting. They had a few good matches, but it wasn't ever really a story. It wasn't really like, oh, this is one of my arch nemesis. Flair at one point. There's a few of them you could throw out there. I will say Jeff Jarrett. 2000s, okay. Jeff Jarrett. Few very important matches in WCW, even though it was the dead era. It was starting to die out. But I mean, we know the famous triple threat, or not triple, the triple cage, I think it was, with David Arquette, where Arquette won. It was like, what the, but again, the Spring Stampede match, a couple, it was, they were kind of like, the old guy, not old guy, but the OG WCW guy.
Yep.
when WCW was hot, and then you had the new age, the new blood in Jeff Jarrett, which of course that's what that not they won't say that killed WCW, but that put the nail in the coffin of WCW.
Pretty much.
But I would say Jeff Jarrett would be in that conversation, probably as the final Sinister Six for DDP. But I understand taking him out because he's not bigger than Goldberg. He's not bigger than Sting. Easily replace him, and I'm not going to argue with you. But if I'm talking about story, impact, number of matches, everything else, those are my six for DDP.
That was fun. It's good to go and watch nostalgia stuff, right?
Who's your number six?
I gave you my six. I had Scott Hall, Kevin Nash.
You Scott. Sorry. I forgot because I put them together.
Yeah.
My bad. I'm sorry. Calm down. All right, my bad, dog.
I'm sorry. Hey, I'm not. Am I on edge? No, but can you put me on edge? You're about to, brother. I gave you my six.
But it is nostalgic. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it is nostalgic to go back. And I was thinking about, and I don't want to transition too fast into the next week, but there's two names that came up on the show multiple times. And I'm going to give you the option. I know, look, I'm the boss, but I'm going to give you the option. We brought up Goldberg.
We're partners in this, brother.
Of course we are. Brock Lesnar or Goldberg? Who do you want to do next week?
Ooh, that's good.
Because they're the ultimate bad booking machines. They're the ultimate IWC heat machines. I'm curious to see what we can get out of a Goldberg or Brock Lesnar episode.
All right, whatever one we do next week, we'll just do the one after that. Let's do Brock. Brock will probably be would be fun. And then, would you do Brock or you want to do Goldberg? Now, I'm cool with doing either one. I'll let you pick.
Well, we just did WCW now, so let's go back to let's go to WWF.
Okay, cool.
Let's do Brock Lesnar next week.
Love it.
I'm curious to see if Goldberg's going to be on that list for you. I doubt it, but we'll see.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, it's going to be hard because you're going to start going, damn, what about him? So, cool. We'll roll with that. Brock Lesnar will be our next Sinister Six guy. So, that will be a lot of fun. But no, very cool. We get closer and closer to Survivor Series, War Games. Cody's going to be involved in War Games. Drew McIntyre, CM Punk. So we're going to have the WWE champion and the world champion on the same team. Got the Usos. Who's the Usos' fifth guy? I mean, who's the fifth guy? Is it Roman Reigns?
We think it's going to be Roman.
It's Roman, right? I think it's going to be Roman. And then the fifth guy for Vision has to be Brock, right? Can't be Austin Theory. You think it's going to be Austin? I don't think there's no chance. Can't be Austin. It has to be Brock. It makes too much sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, though, as much as people are like, I don't want to see Brock. You're gonna love it when you see Brock versus Roman again, or Brock versus CM Punk. That'll be a lot of fun. So
it'll be a lot of fun.
Should John Cena be on the card at all? Not in War Games, obviously, but should he be on the card defending the IC title, or should they wait? He has to wrestle, and he's going to wrestle in the Madison Square Garden, is he not?
Who's he wrestling in Madison Square Garden?
Are they going to Raw? Isn't Raw on MSG?
Yeah, but who's he going to wrestle?
I don't know.
I don't think they announced he may wrestle. I wonder who it's going to be. It'd be cool, but what's the point of having this tournament if he's just going to wrestle somebody?
That's my thing. I wish they announced the tournament after Survivor Series, because then you would have kept them. But right, or Saturday night event right after Survivor Series. Here's what I hope, and maybe you guys don't like this, but hear me out. We all know Joe Hendry was signed to WWE. Did he? Have John Cena? Yeah, he signed. Oh, crap. Maria just said it. Have Cena come out, celebrate with the IC title, say his name, and hey, I told everybody I was going to try to fight you in your retirement tour. I'm here right now, and you said you're about the future. Well, give me a shot. Joe Hendry. I can see Joe Hendry versus John Cena, Madison Square Garden. I like that. I didn't know that. Let me see. It was signed a couple days ago. I think they announced it Friday. How did I not see that? I think it was Friday or Thursday. I saw it. But I think it's going to be Joe Hendry if he does wrestle. And Maria said it. Okay, very cool. I didn't see that. Wow. Well, that was obvious. But okay, sorry. It didn't tell me any comments. I didn't see any comments popping up. So Maria's been in there. McD. Signer Son is a good college tight end. He should be in the. Yeah, he is. They had a real fight in real life backstage. Who? DDP and Stone Cold. I would have loved to see DDP WCW version with Stone Cold. I would have loved to see that.
Oh, that'd been awesome.
That would have been great. And I know they're great friends in real life. They're really good friends. DDP seems to be friends with everybody. If anybody hates DDP in any way, I think I'll put it on them. I'll just say that. But anyway, tomorrow for here on FTSN, 8 a.m. Eastern time, the guys will be live. I have some prior engagement, but the guys will be live. Sammy and Finstanza for the Finstock pregame show. Dolphins versus Commanders at 9:30 Eastern time. So make sure you guys are tuning in for that. If you're Dolphin fans, Dolphins had a big win on against the Buffalo Bills. There seems to be something in the air right now because again, it's like I'm excited for it. I love anytime you beat the Buffalo Bills or win. It was a great win. -2 as 2 interceptions. Devon Achin looks like the star he is. The defense looked really good. McDaniel seemed to be having fun. Champ Kelly in an interim GM status. Does he keep the job or not? There's some reports that a lot of seasoned GMs, Josh, are eyeing the Dolphins, which shocks some people. It doesn't me, because again, you could release some of these contracts, help you out a little bit, get some draft capital. And again, there's only 32 general manager jobs in the NFL. Dolphins happen to be one. People are going to want it. Hopefully they get a good guy, if not Champ Kelly. But I'm not sleeping on Champ Kelly yet. I liked one thing he brought up the other day with a reporter about he doesn't want to be. He worked with Shanahan. He's worked in those offices, but he doesn't want to be connected with anybody. Respectfully, he wants to be his own guy. But he says, I believe in building through the draft. And when I hear that, I get excited because that's how you build a winner. You build through the draft, and then you get your superstars or whoever later on to kind of fill in the blanks. So tomorrow, FTSN, Finstock pregame with Finstans and Sammy. And at 8:30 p.m., we'll be live on Finstock postgame with me and Finstans and the FTSN crew reacting to better be a Dolphins win because there's no way you lose against Marcus Mariota and the Commanders in Spain. Because if you do, fire them all, brother.
Yep.
Josh, anything with Fantasy Now Plus?
Yeah, you can follow me or watch me on Monday. It's going to be a noon time. We changed it because your boy got a promotion. So
What?
Yeah, real life stuff happened. Stressful week, but I got through it. Let me tell you something, corporate world. Stop interviewing in these star formats and all this crap. Just hire the good people. I'm so thankful I got selected. Anyway, Fantasy Now Plus, we have a new song. If you haven't heard it, we have a music video dropping very soon. Justin made. If you haven't heard that yet, Bobby, we did drop the song on Wednesday.
Well, you sent it to me. That's what you sent me, right?
No, we got a new updated one. We got it updated with everyone's name. And it's good times over there. Good vibes over there. We're at 912 subs on Fantasy Now Plus, our channel. We want to hit 1,000 by the end of the year. So please help us out. Go over there. You're about a month and a half away. It's free. It's free to do. FantasyNowPlus.com. It's associated with the Finstock Sports Network. And we love being a part of you guys, man. It's been fun stuff. Everything's fun.
I'm excited for Fantasy Now Plus, man. They continue to grow. They're killing it. Looking forward to the new music video. And congratulations on the promotion, my brother. That is great news, my man. Well earned, I'm sure. And so shout out to everybody tuning in and joining us today. If you come in after the show, we're live. We will see your comments. We will look at them. So do me a favor. If you're coming here post-show, make sure you hit that subscription button and make sure you hit that notifications bell so you know when there's a new episode, when we're live, like Maria. Maria's here for every show. We love Maria. Even when she hates us and hates our opinions, she's always here. So we got all the love in the world for Maria. Justin Toner, sorry we missed you today, my man. DSG, sure you'll catch us on the other side. But if you guys come here after the show, do us a favor. Put in the comments who you think is DDP's Sinister Six, who you thought or what you think is some of the worst bookings in wrestling, not just
pro wrestling.
WWE, but in wrestling in general in the past 10 years. Now you don't have to go past that. Stay within this decade with Tony Khan and Triple H, Paul Levesque, and let us know. And who do you want us to discuss? We're saying we're going to do Brock and Goldberg next, but is there any guy you're like, man, let's talk about that guy, or give us a topic? Go, hey, would you guys discuss this certain situation or whatever? We'd love to do that. So we appreciate you. That's Josh Kimmel. I'm Bobby Finns. Appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe, and peace. See you guys tomorrow.